Well, if you even know for president, depends on what race you're talking about. Here's what normally the equipment has been working very good now since the slow time in 2006. The last 3 elections, they've transmitted very well. Now, of course, the judges can't transmit the results until all the voters have voted. So normally, within a small election, they'll start transmitting at 7:20, and then they'll continue 8, 8:20, and so forth. If there's people still voting till 8 o'clock or 8:15, the judges won't be able to start the transmitting until maybe 8:20 or 8:30. I think you'll see a lot of precincts coming in after 8 o'clock. And particularly by 9 o'clock, and if you're kind of the wizard, your folks in the media usually know key precincts to look for, you'll have a pretty good sense.
The city's talking about 80% voter turnout.
Well, I've been guesstimating the same, about 80% turnout, but I am a little surprised at how slow it was during the day. So, but I'll stick with that. Of course, it's a guessing game, but it's certainly going to be high 70s or maybe above.
If people are still in line to go out of work and they kind of same kind of lines in this morning, is there a chance of holding the polls open because of these people?
Well, remember, everybody in line at 7 o'clock gets to vote. So if I'm in line at 7 o'clock and I'm a block and a half out of the polling place is open until I get to vote. The last person in line gets to vote, and that's what I was saying before. Then the judges start their work. Everybody else leaves. They start with the next thing that's key for the media is they consolidate the results. And simply what that is, if you don't mind, there's a card activator, and they take the paper ballots and the cartridge from the paper ballots, put that on the card activator, it goes zap, basically instantly the results. And then if they have 2 touchscreens, they take a cartridge for each of the touchscreens, put that in the card activator, zap, zap. So in this case you had 3 cartridges, then it would cellularly transmit the unofficial results to us. And so if they did that at 8 o'clock, we'd have that at 8 o'clock.
And then you start adding in the early voting.
We'll start that at 7 o'clock. So the massive amounts of early votes and absentees that have already been already been received, those will be going in at 7 o'clock. So this time, those will probably be adding up sooner. But let's say, for example, if you have a precinct with 100 early votes, nothing will happen to that precinct until we get the precinct from the votes from the precinct itself. Yeah, because in other words, in Chicago and Cook County, what the politicos want is to make sure that they see the precinct totals that includes both the precinct day, the early voting, and the absentees. So we might have lots of votes in there that you won't see until the precinct itself is ready to bring returns, and then the 2 will automatically merge in the system.
David, Langdon Neal talked about in the city of Chicago, 3 judges had to be removed.
I heard, yes.
2 because they'd been drinking, 1 because he was a suspect in a battery case that a voter identified in a case, and another was an imposter. Anything like that going on in Cook County?
Nothing that I know in suburban Cook. Sometimes we have incidents, but I've heard of nothing today. But remember, when you're talking even about the city, you're talking about 3 judges out of 14,000. So it's a very, very small number. And the good news is if there's a very unusual number of judges that perhaps aren't performing, then yes, you have to remove.
Anything we haven't asked you, anything you think is important to mention?
There's been so much focus on the lines for the last few days. I just want to make sure people are not intimidated. Okay, if you're out there listening and you're one of those folks that you got to put on a hard day's work and you're not through work till 5 or 5:30 or whatever, don't be afraid. If you're in line at 7 o'clock, you'll get to vote. Right now the lines have not been that difficult. At least in suburban Cook, they've been moving. Of course, there were some lines at 6 o'clock because some people wanted to beat the crowd. But don't be intimidated by that. You will get to vote. Don't worry. And just remember the basics, that it's a long ballot. There's a lot of new voters out there. You don't have to vote for everything. I'm not telling you to skip things, but if you want to move along faster, you can just keep pushing the next button or skip races. If you skip some races, it will not have a negative effect on the ones you do vote for.
Thank you, David. Sure. Thank you very much.
We see you. Just holler if you need anything.
Appreciate it.
Don't be camped out here.
I'm looking for our first drunken judge.
Good. How are you doing? And you know where you'll be.
I might beat him.
And you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's.
Believe it or not,
You know, sometimes there's a few judges that are just.
I got a personal
and when you have
demonstration.
lines,
Pardon me.
one of the most important judges.
Yeah, your big chief is here now.
David,
Hey, Chuck.
how are you?
We just got sound for you.
One of the, you know, let's see, it's right.
Trying to stay out of that guy's camera shot. How are you?